Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. Polish President Andrzej Duda took part in the annual GlobeSec Forum organised in the Slovak capital Bratislava. Because of the coronavirus pandemic, only selected leaders appeared in person. Others appeared by teleconference. Duda talked to the President of Slovakia, Zuzana Čaputová, and the President of Croatia, Zoran Milanovic. The swift recovery of economies affected by the crisis is very important, but the model for this recovery matters even more. After the pandemic, we must take as our starting point a return to economic growth, but we must remember about the resilience of societies. Leaders must take care of their voters, but must also rise above particularisms and find readiness for solidarity. We must avoid new divisions between the better and the worse, between the rich and the poor, and between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. The lower chamber of the Polish parliament has chosen a candidate for ombudsman. This time it's an independent senator, Lidia Staroń. This is the latest attempt since last September to find a candidate on which the majority of both chambers is able to agree, something which has so far proved to be impossible. Senator Staroń is the Law and Justice Party candidate, so she was approved by the lower chamber. However, the Senate majority is then composed of members of the opposition who are now to decide. The ruling Law and Justice Party supported Senator Lidia Staroń from Solidarity Poland. She received 231 votes, while 222 deputies voted for the opposition candidate, Professor Marcin Wiącek.
Senator wielokrotnie wykazywała, że
Senator Staroń showed that she cares about the interests of the ordinary citizens. She showed it right through her diligence. I think there is a chance to break this political stalemate and choose the right person for ombudsman.
polityczny ze strony opozycji przerwać.
Part of the ruling coalition, the United Right, is Porozumienie, or the Agreement Party, chaired by Deputy Prime Minister Jarosław Gowin. In this case, the Agreement Party disagreed with their colleagues and supported the opposition candidacy of Professor Marcin Wiącek. We have a different opinion on some matters. In this case, we believe that Professor Wiącek would be the better candidate. The number of Poles resistant to the coronavirus is approaching 60%, according to the Health Minister Adam Niedzielski. The occupancy of COVID beds in hospitals is declining steadily. Every day, fewer infections and deaths are recorded. Does this mean there are now reasons for optimism? Małgorzata Kleszcz investigated. According to the Ministry of Health, over 24 million vaccinations have been performed in Poland. The first dose of the vaccine has been taken by 14 million people, and over 9 million people are now fully vaccinated. The Health Ministry estimates that up to 60% of Poles already have antibodies to the COVID-19 virus. We are approaching the herd immunity threshold because even if we increase social mobility and social activity, we do not see an increase in infections. From the 1st of July, the admission limits for specialist doctors will be lifted. The Minister noted that he had signed the relevant ordinance on the 14th of June, so as to give healthcare institutions a few weeks to prepare. We are approaching the number of 70% of people who are immune to the virus. This means that the health services are safe. There is no need for more ventilators. It all looks as though we are close to herd immunity.
Czyli jesteśmy na tym poziomie, kiedy zbliżamy się do pewnej odporności stadnej.
According to the data from the Ministry of Health, nearly 234,000 adolescents aged from 12 to 17 have already received at least one dose of the Pfizer vaccine. Indeed, the level of infections is dropping, but this does not mean that we should stop protecting ourselves. This is the paradox of the good situation in which we are now. It concerns vaccinations as well as virus infections. We should still take care of ourselves and encourage others to vaccinate. I appreciate the public calls to vaccination. Although the current epidemiological data are promising and the mass vaccination campaign is progressing, experts warn against complacency. The holiday period will be conducive to relaxation. Our discipline and the application of the restrictions and limits still in force will determine the epidemic situation in which we will find ourselves in the autumn, when the weather will no longer be our ally. The Polish Parliament is to hold a classified session on Wednesday to discuss the recent series of cyberattacks on government officials and members of Parliament. According to a government spokesman, the scale of the attacks is very serious. Dworczyk, the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff and Minister responsible for the vaccination programme, fell victim to cybercrime. Last week, the alleged contents of his private mailbox were released on the internet with the claim that it contained classified documents. Hackers published, among others, personal data such as scans of the minister's driving licence and identity card, and later 2 more files are available featuring a PDF attachment entitled Evaluation of the R-27 Ground Launcher. I would like to emphasise that no classified, proprietary, secret or top secret information was contained in the email inbox that was the subject of the hacking attack. I also inform you that the statement that was published on social media on my wife's account is fabricated and contains false content. According to the latest information, the documents published by hackers were forged. Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki asked the same speaker to convene a classified session to present the scale of cyberattacks that have affected the Polish government in recent years. This is the new face of modern war hitting us from our eastern border, as shown by the Russianisms that appear in the fabricated entries on Facebook and in email. All Polish politicians should take this warning seriously and upgrade their online security. The identity of those attacking Polish government ministers remains an open question. According to government sources, since the beginning of this year, there have been almost 9,500 cyberattacks. Out of 11 serious incidents, as many as 9 related to the banking sector, 1 to the Polish energy sector, and 1 to patients. Attacks on public administration constituted a significant part. There were as many as 148 of them. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business, and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.